Hello, hello, and welcome back to TornEdge Designs. It's me, Torn, again. Today, you guys get to finally see the polymer clay cakes that I've been making. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to make a mini carrot cake, a mini strawberry shortcake, and a mini Oreo chocolate chip cake. I will go ahead and add in the inspiration pictures that I had for this. Obviously they are real cakes and they look delicious. So making polymer clay cakes is super satisfying, I personally think, because it's very similar to building a cake in real life. You have layers, you build those layers, and when you cut through them and what that cake looks like at the end is super satisfying when it's done right. And a funny little fact is that you get to bake these at the end too. So we're literally baking cakes, just not ones you can eat. And I mean, I would gladly bake everybody watching a cake. The difference is that you probably actually wouldn't want to eat that cake, because I'm good at baking polymer clay, not so much actually baking. I did used to love baking, but I mean, I just did it for fun. It was definitely not anything that I ever got good at. But I do still make my son's birthday cakes. Although I totally cheat and I use box mix. I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, it's all in the icing anyways. I always make sure to ice the cake beautifully. Who cares what it looks like inside, as long as it tastes good, and usually when I use a box, it does. Anyways though, you guys don't need to hear about my baking trials and tribulations. You can watch the Great British Bake Off for that. As you can see on screen here, we finished the gingerbread cake. Basically what I did with that was I just took a brown, and I also used a color called graphite. I'm sorry, I meant granite. I totally meant granite. Correction, Sculpey granite, which is like a cement kind of textured color that has black bits in it, and that's what kind of made it look like it had spices and stuff in it. Oh, actually, I totally just remembered that I use granite for the chocolate chip cookies and cream cake. That's what I use as the cookies and cream filling, as well as the icing on the outside of the cake. So you will see me use that soon again here, just by itself. With the carrot cake, obviously there's only one type of cake with that, so I wanted to make the cake layers a little bit thicker. So when I want to do that, usually I'm rolling out these sheets in a pasta machine on the thickest setting, and what I do is I will just fold that over so that I get double thickness for the cake layers, and then I can make the icing layers the single thickness. And then you can see here I put on the side basically how I ordered the layers of the cake in this. So a lot of times obviously it's icing, cake, icing, cake, icing. With the strawberry shortcake one, it is cake, icing, strawberry jam, icing, and then cake. So it just kind of depends. And then with the chocolate chip one, we have two kinds of fillings. So we have the cookies and cream filling, and then we have just regular chocolate icing that goes in the middle of that one. So when you're thinking of the layers and trying to design whatever cake you want, think of it as a normal cake. How would you make those layers of the cake and recreate that with your slabs of clay that you get? And then if you want to make certain layers thicker, double it up, triple it up, it's totally up to you how you want to do it. So once you get all your layers done, you want to make sure that you get the final layer of icing onto all of your cake. So again, you just want to think of how you want to ice these cake. For the carrot cake and the strawberry shortcake, I just wanted vanilla icing for those two. So I used white clay. I just cut out another disc of the white clay for the top of both. It's just the easiest way to put it on. And then rolling out a slab with your pasta machine again, or again, you can use 2 popsicle sticks and a rolling pin. You just want to take that, cut it the width of the cake that you're making, and use that to ice the sides of your cake, which you can see that I kind of do here as well. And then with the chocolate chip one, I just decided that I wanted to have chocolate icing on top, because you'll see here we're going to kind of recreate a chocolate drip effect, but I wanted the cookies and cream icing on the outside. So I used granite again on the outside of that one, and that kind of matches with the cookies and cream filling on the inside as well. Looking at our reference pictures, that was kind of where that idea came from. I also showed you on the white ones as well, I added some icing. Probably the easiest way to do icing, I would say, is rolling 2 thin snakes together and just twisting them into what looks like piped icing at the bottom. You can also see I did do just a bunch of mini dots, and then I just place those all next to each other, because if you've ever seen baking, a lot of times that's what they'll do when they're piping, is just little dots over and over and over and over again. So I wanted to kind of recreate that look with the icing. With polymer clay, there's so many different ways to make icing. I also make liquid chocolate icing in this, so you guys will see how to make that liquid icing if that's what you're looking for, to create drips and stuff like that as well. So once you've gotten your cakes all iced, you're happy with the way that the layers are gonna look on the inside, everything is clean, and you know, you're happy with your product, go ahead and refrigerate your cakes for, I don't know, maybe like half hour. I sometimes will put it in the freezer if I just want it to go really, really fast. Obviously try not to leave it there though, because if you freeze your polymer clay, you're not going to be able to cut through it. The reason I like to refrigerate these is because by making the clay cold, it makes it a lot harder. So when we go to cut all of our little pieces of cake, we won't have colors merging into each other and things like that. Generally, you don't have that anyways, but refrigerating it just makes for a really nice, clean cake slice. Okay, so now comes the rather tedious part of this. In order to make these slices that we've sliced out look more like real cake, we need to take away the clean cuts of the clay. A lot of times when you cut through a cake, the icing will cut kind of clean, but the cake crumbles, right? I mean, even if that's not the case, just shh for today, because that's the theory we're gonna go on, okay? Okay. So we need to create that crumbly texture on the cake slices. So literally what we do, on each side of each slice, you go in and you texture the clay until it looks like it's crummy, kind of thing, you know, like a cake would. So in this, I am using either a needle tool, or like I've made my own special tool that I've showed you guys here. It's almost kind of like a tattoo gun, if you think of it that way, where it has several different needles, and I use that just to texture things so that it goes a little bit faster. And then something that you'll notice in this too, in the carrot cake and the chocolate chip Oreo cake, I wanted to add chocolate chips and pieces of carrot to the carrot cake. So in the carrot cake, before I started texturing it, I add tiny little pieces of orange to the sides of the cake, and I did the same with the chocolate chip one, but with chocolate. So basically think of it this way. You want to texture the cake, but leave the icing clean. Then moving on to the strawberry shortcake one, I really loved the ideas of having like full half-cut strawberries in the center as filling almost. So I wanted to recreate that. The way that I did that was I took, it's a homemade strawberry cane. So they're called like Fimo canes. You can buy these, and obviously they're gonna look a lot better than a homemade one because they are factory made. Speaking of clay canes, I do actually have a video where I show you how I've made a cane. It's a skull cane, and that is in my Band-Aid earring tutorial, and I will try and link that up here. I'll try to remember to do that. If not, I will link it in the description below. But I do have some more videos with more canes that I will get out. Actually, this has reminded me that maybe that should be my next video. Anyways, back to the strawberry shortcake. What you do is you slice off little slices from the cane of the strawberry, and then I just made sure that they were short enough so that they weren't too tall past the filling of the pieces. And then I took a little bit of Sculpey Bacon Bond and I put it on one side of the strawberry to glue that strawberry to the center of the strawberry shortcake. So once you've gotten them baked, you saw me do the liquid chocolate icing and the drip on the Oreo chocolate chip cake. I like to have it baked to put that wet icing on, and then that also gives a place for the mini Oreos and whipped cream that we're going to add to it as well. So for the carrot cake, all I really wanted to add, I always love it when they pipe out the little carrots on the carrot cake. So that was kind of what I was trying to recreate. Obviously, I can't pipe clay, so I just kind of made a little bitty baby carrot. If you watch my live streams, you'll understand why I'm giggling a little bit. And then I add a little dollop of whipped cream. So sometimes dollops of whipped cream can be really hard to create in clay just because they're pretty detailed the way a dollop of whipped cream looks, and recreating that is kind of hard sometimes. I guess it's not really a dollop, it's like a piped star. Just to veer away a little bit to show you what you're seeing on the screen right now, I'm just finishing up the strawberry shortcake, and really all I've done with that is I added a little bit of like a whipped cream string on the top edge of the cake. Then I took some more Fimo strawberry clay cane slices and I just chopped that all up so it almost looks like a bunch of chopped up strawberries. Fill the top of your strawberry shortcake piece with Sculpey Bacon Bond, and then just fill that area with your chopped up strawberries. And then you have a totally completed strawberry shortcake. Strawberry shortcake charm. And back to our Oreo mold. I actually bought a mold for this. I used that to create the star piped dollops of whipped cream on both the chocolate chip Oreo cake and the carrot cake. Obviously, you've baked your slices of cake beforehand, so anytime you're adding unbaked clay to baked clay, always try and use a little bit of Sculpey Bacon Bond. Bake and bond, and that will help to keep everything secure once it's completely baked. Then you can see for the chocolate chip Oreo one, I wanted to make some itty bitty baby Oreos. I bought a mold for that as well. Funny thing is I actually bought a mold for these thinking that they were much bigger than what the mold said it was. This is always a struggle I have buying craft things online, is I never know the exact size of these molds. So I have bought so many molds that are too big or too small, but I just find another way to use it. So this Oreo mold, when I bought it, it was definitely too small, but luckily I have found a way to use it. So again, I'm just taking like a tiny little ball of almost black brown clay and I'm pushing that into the mold and then popping it out. I just found it was a little bit easier, so I baked the Oreos and then went in and just made them into Oreos with filling with unbaked clay, and then I baked all of those. Do your little whipped cream dollop, pop it onto your whipped cream dollop, put it into your chocolate icing that you've dripped off the edges, and then you can just bake it like that. Alright guys, that's it. That's how you make polymer clay cakes. I hope you enjoyed this video, and like I've shown you, there are so many different ways that you can make polymer clay cakes. So go crazy with your ideas. Please do like and subscribe, and make sure that you turn on the notifications so you know whether I'm going live or if I'm dropping a new video. And you can always follow me on my social media. Twitter is where I'm most active. I also have an Instagram. Anyways, can't wait to see you guys in the next one. Have a good one. Bye!